Hey guys, this is going to be a tutorial over Rhino, and I call it the 9-cube grid. So it's basically going to run you through how to use line work, blocks, rotations and copies, the gumball tool. Some of it is, I know for myself, going to have some polls. But just bear with me. Any questions, please leave in the comments. And let's just get started. Okay, as you see, this is just the normal setup in Rhino. The menu on the right-hand side goes through properties and layers. This is basically all we'll be using. Here's on the left side, there's lines, points. If you hold down the button on either one of these, you get other menus. It's similar on Mac. As you see here too, left click and right click have different things, but let's just get into it. So first of all, let's make a point in the center. So you'll click point and you'll type 0, 0, and that will give you a point right in the middle. You see that there? Okay. And as you can see, if you click on the top of these different windows, you can zoom in. Alright? So I like to be in perspective a lot. If you don't see this menu down here, or this menu, those menus are, if you hold down this, the little car up here, and grab this, and you can bring it down there. Like that. I use these all the time. Also, the one next to it is the C-plane. I also use this one quite a bit. So we want that one down there too. And if you see this O snaps here, double click that and click that and you'll see this up here. And I use this quite a bit too. Alright? Well, first of all, we got our point there. And we're going to make a 9-cube grid. So first we're going to start with a line. And we're just going to arbitrarily make it, we want to divide it by 3. So you want to do something in the range of 3 so it makes it easier. So let's just do 9. Alright, so there's 9. Now we want that in the middle, so we'll move that from the midpoint. So M for move, return, and then you click the middle midpoint, and you click there. Now if midpoint's not on, you want to go back to O snaps, make sure it's clicked right here. You see down here at the bottom, mid. Alright, so now we have mid on, as you see here. If you don't see this little gizmo right here, that's the gumball. That's this button down here. If you click it on and off, down at the bottom of the screen, next to record history and smart track. And this gumball is kind of a new feature in Rhino 6, which kind of is not new anymore. And so what you can do is you can hold down Alt and click on one of the rotational pieces, and if you hold down Shift, it will snap into place. And see, now we've copied that line up and down. Alright? And we can do that for the other one. Like that. Alright? So now that we've got a nice axis like this, as you see, what we can do is we'll divide one of these by 3. Alright? So if you hit type divide, and it says number of segments here at the top line, right? So you want 3. And see, now it's divided that into 3 lines. Alright? So we know we want to copy the center one over to one of those lines. So type copy and hit return and click from the midpoint to this point right here. And then since we still have it connected, we're going to do it to that one as well. Alright? So now we have that first center line created. We can go ahead and delete that center one. Alright? And now we're going to do the same thing to the other side. So we're going to take one of those lines, we're going to divide it and into 3. Each 3 should already be selected. And see, we get those 3 points again. And now we're going to copy that line again from the center point. If you hold down Shift, you see it locks into place. Now if you hit Tab right afterwards, you'll get this white line, and that means it's locked into place. So you can let go of Shift after that. And then we're going to click it to that point, Shift Tab again, clip it to the next point. Okay? So now we can go ahead and delete that centerpiece, and now we see here we have a nice 9 square grid, right? Except we don't have the outsides, so what we can do is copy one of these again, and we'll click that outside point, hold shift down, hit tab, click that in point, right? We'll do the same thing for another one, copy, type copy. If you right click when you have, it will do the previous command if that was not apparent. I don't think it was. So shift, tab, grab the endpoint, and there we go. Alright, so we know that these two are opposite over here. And so what we can do is we can hold down Alt again, use our gizmo, and click that one, and hold down Shift, and swing it around. So now you have a nice 9 square grid as is, okay? Now, we don't have the top and the bottom, so we need to create the top and the bottom. So what we can do is divide this centerpiece again, and we can divide it in 3, so now you see we have our 3 places. Now what you can do now, we can go ahead and delete those little guys right there in that center point. What you can do now is get in the side view like this. It looks like some points there too. We don't need those points. Delete those as well. Get in the side view, grab that whole thing by boxing around it, and hit Control G, which is group. That's Control G. All right. And since we know that's the midpoint right there, we can go ahead and copy that to here, to the top point. Since it's already selected, copy to the bottom point, copying it to the base point, and copy to the top point. And now we know we can go ahead and delete that centerpiece, right? And so we should have these 4 layers, which is very similar to like a Hejduk plan or something like that, right? Alright, and so the center point here, we know this needs to go everywhere, right? So we need to go ahead and copy that center line. And what we can do is probably hide these top ones. Control H hides. Or we can highlight them and hit this little light bulb right here, right? And that hides it as well. Now another one I'd like to show you is if you wanted just to see these 2 pieces, right? You can hold down the light button with the left click and hit this one with the little yellow and black, and we'll inverse, you see, what we have here. Now we got to make sure, see that we're missing something. So we want to go back one, make sure we grab those points as well, and the line and the bottom piece. And now we're going to invert it again, and it's going to isolate it by itself, right? So we know we need to copy this to every single point, so copy again. So we're going to grab that bottom point, we're going to copy it to the whole grid, right? We're just going to do one like that, then we're going to copy those 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. All right, and we're gonna type show, and we're gonna see the whole thing. So now that's a nice lined 9 cube grid. We're gonna go ahead and delete that centerpiece, or sometimes I like to keep it. I don't know. It's up to you. I think I'm gonna keep it just for shits and giggles. Alright, so we have our 9 cube grid. Now what we need to do is we need to create pegs for this 9 cube grid. Alright, and in order to do that, we need to center that on one of these spaces, right? And the distance between them is going to be different. So first we need to isolate one of the bottom pieces, right? And here what we're going to do is we're going to switch the C-plane. So you see this grid thing right here? This is the C-plane. And what we're going to do is with this, this piece we added down here, we're going to switch that grid plane to where it is going to be on on the plane on this edge right here, okay? And so we're going to flip it until it's there, so that's right there. See, now it's on that edge. And what we're going to do is we're going to draw a cube, and for our measures, we're going to click that corner, hold down Shift, point it in that direction, hit Tab, and type 1. That's a little big, so let's go down a little bit, hold it down again, and type 0.1. That's a little small. Let's just do 0.25, just for shits and giggles. That's pretty good. If this was in inches, that would be in a 1/4 inch, 1/4 millimeter, what have you. Oh, and I didn't do that. Okay, so hold down Shift, 0.25, and see it's loose again, but it's not closed. Hold down Shift again, point it in the next direction, hit Tab, 0.25, Enter, Shift, Tab, 0.25, Enter, Shift, Tab, 0.25, Enter. And so now it's closed. Now for our purposes, we want this to be centered on this point right here, right? So we need to move that from the middle over, hold down Shift, Tab, click that point. And we want to do it to here too, hold down Shift, Tab, right there. Alright? So now we know that that needs to be extruded across this plane. So we're going to switch it to the bottom again, right? And then we're going to type extrude, and we're going to bring it all the way to that edge, right? If you can't see it right, if you go up here at the top, it says shaded and wireframe. So if you left click, you'll get this shaded view. If you right click again, you'll get it back into transparent. Alright? And so now we have it in shaded view. What we're going to do is copy that guy over. Copy him 1, 2, 3. Okay, so we know that this grouping right here is the same thing as the other one. So we can click them all, hold down Alt again, hold down Shift, and rotate it like that. And so there we are, there is our bottom piece. Now you can see that it's a little off on some of them. So we're going to need to extend these, okay? So what we're going to do here is we're going to go over here to this little box, and we're going to hold down the left click on it, and we're going to pull that menu out like that, alright? And this one right here is the 1D scale. So if we grab the center point right there, and we click it and grab the center point, and then we click that, and we click to this edge right here, we can grab it and extend it like that, right? And it looks like these are off too. So we know these pegs need to be shrunk too. Same method. Grab the end. Oh, I missed it. So grab the end. Make sure you do that. So as we know, that's the way those are made. And I think we need to shrink these guys too, because if these were going to be actual physical materials, these need to be smaller pieces, right? So what we're going to do is on one edge, we're going to grab that guy and we're going to shrink him all the way down here, right? So that's how that peg is going to be. And we're going to do the same thing to this side. And there's those, okay? And then we know that those are all equal, so we're going to copy those guys over, point to point, point to point to point. And there we go. We have a nice 9-cube grid that these could be made with little pieces of wood. We can go ahead and close that menu. What we're going to do is select all that, okay? And we're going to go ahead and put that on another layer. So we're going to right click on the blue layer, layer number 3, change that. If you don't have a layer number 3, you can hit this button in the top left, new layer, click it. Now it's called layer 6. I'm going to click these again. And we're going to right click on layer 6 and hit change. This is the default color. So if you see this little black square over here on the layer 6, we're going to click that, and this menu should come up here, and just, you know, pick a color, whatever color you like. I'm making it a little like basswood or some kind of wood material. I'm going to rename that layer 9 cube. So the whole thing's 9 cubes, so I use abbreviations. So NC pegs are, let's see, wood. Alright? And we're going to click on that layer. On that top layer, which we know all the lines are in, we're going to call that NC line work. Alright? If that menu is not big enough for you, you can drag it out a little bit by using this little, when this little icon comes up here to the right. Okay? Now we're going to go back and type show. So we have our whole thing again. And there's lines underneath there. So if I just go like this, see, I get that line structure underneath. I don't want that line structure underneath. I just want those wood pieces. So I'm going to right click on the layer, select objects, and see, it gave me that thing. I'm going to go ahead and group that, Control G, and I'm going to go ahead and copy this up. So I'm going to grab this point right here, copy to the next point, copy the next point, copy the next point. So now we have our layers looking pretty good. Alright, turn that on, see those layers. Okay, so now we need to do this side over here, and so we're going to also copy that through the whole entire object. So we have these pegs here. We're going to ungroup that. Control Shift G is ungroup. Okay, so now that bottom layer is ungrouped. From this corner right here, we're going to go over here to the rotate button. You see it right here below move, and we're going to click that button. And we're going to want to rotate on this plane right here. So we're going to need to change this until it's in that plane, like that. If you look up at the top here, after we clicked rotation, it says center of rotation, which is that point right there, is where we want it. And see, now we get the little rotation piece. And then it says copy no. We're going to click that copy no and change it to yes. And we're going to click that other point along the same line as the point you clicked, and we're going to rotate it up by locking it in with shift and clicking where we want it. Okay, and then now what you can do, before you right click or hit return, you can hit copy yes again to turn that off. It will permanently stay on otherwise. Alright, and we know this piece doesn't need to go there. It needs to be centered on this line, so we're going to click that piece, grab the center, move it towards this line. If near isn't clicked, it's down there. I have it clicked a lot. It really helps me. Okay, and so now we know that thing goes all the way to the top, but we know that we need pegs, so we need to reduce those numbers. Okay, so we're going to take that, we're going to pull up that scale again, we're going to scale it from the bottom and grab the top, and we scale it right below this guy right here. And we're going to do the same thing to it on the bottom and scale it up here. So we have that one piece right there. Now we know that from the center point will go in all these lines. So we're going to copy that, grab that midpoint right there, and as it's locked into place, hold down shift, hit tab, and we can come grab it with, you're going to have to do it every time, shift and tab. And there we go. There you have it. We have a nice layer there. Now we're going to grab those again. Now what you can do is, since we're not using the line work as copying, we can go over here and hit this little lock button right here, and that will lock it. So now we can't actually click that layer. So you can highlight like that, group it, and now we're going to copy those over from the midpoints, right? Oh, it's not locking into place because the plane's that way. So we're going to go down here to the C plane again, hit it on top view, and now we see that we can go in that direction. Alright, there's one, there's two. And so we have that bottom plane. We want all those guys, so we're going to grab them real quick, group them, and now we're going to copy them up. from that point right there to the next point to the next point. Alright, and there you have it. There is a 9-cube grid. That is one way to do it. There's several other ways to do it, but this one gives you accurate measurements in all your pegs. And so you could actually go in here, let's say we want to know what this peg right here is. We can look at, type in distance, and we can get a distance number from endpoint to endpoint. Those are 2.75 millimeters. Alright, that's a really tiny box, but we could scale this to any size we wanted to. Everything is about proportions. In the next video, I'll be showing how we can use this system in order to create inner workings of an object as a kind of discrete elements. I look forward to hearing y'all's comments on this video, and I will talk to you in the next one. Thanks so much.